Uh, so we have a few early birds to the class. Great. um, I'm just going to put up the chat. We'll start at 6.
So we didn't have no assignments due last week, right?
Um, all right. So everybody can hear me, hopefully.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
I can hear you.
So today I kind of want to do like a continuation of the last class. We're going to work on a different song. Just because I don't like working on the same song all the time. Um, but what we're gonna do today, last time, whenever we did EQ stuff, all we used was the Fab Filter EQ, which is just a plain pure like digital style EQ. Let me pull this back so you can kind of see. Um, and for good or for bad, digital EQs can kind of be whatever you want them to be, right? So, you could literally put it anywhere. You can change the cue however you want. You can, on I think FabFilter, you can have its unlimited number of bands. Um, and digital EQs, like they definitely have their spot. Their spot is normally like a fixer, like where you hear something and you want to fix it. Digital EQs are great for that. But today I want to kind of touch on a lot of like the analog style EQs. Whenever you guys start getting on the audio too, and you get boards and stuff like that, and you start working on consoles don't have digital EQs like this. Like this EQ, like the bandwidth goes to 40, which is really really a really tight bandwidth. When you start getting into like analog EQs, they all kind of have their little quirks. So like the SSL EQ, the Q can't go to that. The Q, the tightest it'll go is to 3. And to put that in perspective, 3. Um, that's what it would look like. Um, it, working with analog, I'm going to call it analog, but what I really want to talk about today is kind of like analog modeled EQs, and that goes back to what I was saying, where each of these EQs, any of the analog modeled EQs and the hardware, counterparts, they all have their quirks, and like their quirks are what make them special. It's what gives like this EQ, the 2098. There's a hardware version made by AMEC, and it sounds really good too. But there, for whatever reason, this low mid is just like that special frequency. It just, I don't know what it does. It just does something special. So kind of destructing that, deconstructing, destruction, no, deconstruction, deconstructing. Uh, um, there's a plugin. It's kind of like a wrapper thing, and it's this thing called Plugin Doctor, which is really cool. What this does is it allows you to kind of see what's going on in these EQs. So if I go back, I'll load up. Oh, that's right. It's all like this. Um, say, okay, say I load up that AMEC 2098, right? So normally when you're working with these EQs, you can't really you don't know what's going on with them. So with this little piece of software, it actually analyzes the frequency spectrum for it, so you can see what's going on. So like I said, whatever reason, this low mid frequency sounds really great. And if you look just straight off the bat, you can see that this just putting in this EQ cuts at like 150 hertz, just a little bit. But that was a thing about the hardware EQ, where you put it in and you're like, wow, it sounds really good. It's little quirks like this. So if I boost this low mid, you can kind of see, the curves that are associated with it. Whereas normally you don't see this kind of stuff. I don't like recommend running out and buying it, but it is interesting to see what things do, like the high pass filter. Let me put all these back at 0. So if you look at the high pass filter, like immediately something changes. No, it's not just a plain high pass. Like it's a high pass, but there's a little bump. Like the volume goes up. That's -5.8, -6.3. The volume goes up half a decibel at its cutoff point. If we go over, if you're using something like FabFilter, a digital EQ, what you see is kind of what you get. So it's not, it's not boosting anything. But that's kind of the cool thing of working with analog modeled, is it all has its own little like quirks like that. And I guess as I roll it up, yeah, you can see it kind of change. Um, And then another thing that this does, you can look at like the harmonic analysis of stuff. Oh, that's right. This is a demo version. It cuts out after a while. But if I pull up something, let me find, let's do FabFilter. So if I pull up FabFilter and I go and I try to see if it's generating any harmonics, this is the fundamental it shows. And there's nothing above there. So it's not generating any harmonics. It's not adding anything to the signal. If I load up, let's get out of here. Let's load up something that I think is like a really colorful EQ, like some of the BX SSLs. Like you can see right off the bat, remember FabFilter, it just had the fundamental. And then here you can see it's generating extra harmonics. So just putting the analog style, plugins onto a track can impact the sound, along with all their little quirks that makes them so special. This does have a way to like boost up the distortion. Oh, look at that. So the total harmonic distortion, THD, is the total harmonic distortion. On this one, you can dial it up, and you can see that it's generating more harmonics. I don't know if they're even or odd. I'm not going to go that far into it. But it's just one of those little quirks about analog style EQs. That are cool, and that's kind of what I want to do today, is run through another song. A lot of times the way I work, because these digital EQs can be whatever you want. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm here.
Okay. So not only today, today I don't just want to use the FabFilter stuff. We're going to kind of do the tour of EQs, and see what happens, see what they sound like, because they all have a different sound, and they all sound, for certain things they sound awesome. For other things, they just don't sound awesome. So that's what we're going to do. And then y'all's next project, which I need to type it all out and figure out what song you guys are going to do. But it'll basically be this. This is, I'll have y'all mix a song, just using EQ. And I kind of want to do this a second time, just so you guys can get more of, see how I work, how a lot of people work. And see how much you can actually do with an EQ. And we'll use our little chart also still, because it comes in handy for fixing stuff. This song I got off the Cambridge multi-track. Oh, I don't even remember what song it is. Maybe it's Kate, right? By My Side. I think this is it. Maybe it's Contact. I'm not sure. But these were recorded all with Telefunken mics, and we'll get into that a little bit whenever we start recording. I am, for right now, I need to make a mess. Oh, sorry. Windows being gripey. I need to make a master track just so I can bump up the volume a little bit for you guys. Nope, come back. So I'm just going to play it. Listening, like right off the bat, there's a ton of muddiness to it. So there'll be a whole lot of cleaning up to do, especially on this. But I'll just play a little bit of it. The levels are kind of wonky, so I'll adjust levels as we go, which is, kind of how you should start. Listen to the song, adjust levels, and then, we'll dive deeper in.
to see where I could see. But at the end of the day, I just wanna see you with me.
So you guys can hear right off the bat the vocals are super mud. They don't sound clear at all, so that's going to be something we'll have to fix. Whenever I hit play, I kind of adjusted a few levels that I heard, but mostly I went and I color coded everything. So I want all the drums the same color, the bass, the guitar, and again, how to do that if this is closed. You could just select the tracks. If you hold shift, it will do your selection from here to wherever you click. And then just window, color palette, and you can change it to whatever color you feel like. So starting off is a lot of organization. There's certain ways that I like stuff to sit. If you guys look over here in the tracks, this mirrors whatever's on the mixer, right? So if I grab that one and move it over here, it moves it over here without me having to click and drag it like that. So the way I like my drums is I like to have the kick first, snare. I normally do snare top, bottom. Toms, is there more toms? I think there's more toms. Hat, overhead, room, mono, drums mono. That's going to go with overheads. But yeah, I like to do drums, bass, guitar, and then any sort of instruments are after that. So we have horns, keyboard part, which I think is an organ. I'm not too sure. And then some vocals. Flipping over on this side, you can see some of the tracks were kind of quiet. I'll put this down here. So we may have to address that. But let's just go ahead and go through and listen, because we're really going to be working, we're really going to be concentrating on EQ. And we'll probably do some auxiliary track stuff and things like that. But really, if we're going to try listening and trying to figure out what we don't like and what we do like, and kind of where the frequency is. So just check out. And lucky us, like the drum kit was actually recorded fairly well. But we'll just listen. I can mute everything. Go to where they play a little louder. So the kick drum there is a little, it's a way different tone than what's playing over here. It's kind of like a dead tone. And a much more attacky tone. So there's something weird. I don't know. It sounds kind of like a little boxy to me or something like that. So we may have to check that out. Now they did give us 2 kick drum mics, so we can hear what the second one sounds like. Second one's kind of boomy. Sounds pretty good though. Snare top. Lots of body to it, which I like. Maybe not so much attack, which would be a 5K-ish. We also have a bottom. Lots of, the underside of the snare is kind of an important mic. If you're not a drummer, you may not be aware. Snares. Let me see if I can find an image of it, because it's a bunch of animals caught. That's horrible. Snares drum. I was not expecting that. I am sorry. So when you're looking at a snare, when you flip it over, it has these like rattles underneath it, and these are actually called snares. So that's what that mic is picking up, is the bottom side, and then you combine it with the top, because otherwise it's just kind of dead. You don't have the snare. Rack toms. Kind of doesn't look like he hits a tom. Let me unmute it. Sounds very boring. Next tom. Hi-hat. I have a personal vendetta against hi-hats, so I'm just going to make this inactive. I think most hi-hat mics are not worth it. But drum overheads, so these are the mics that kind of pick up the whole drum kit. And this is kind of important to look. So this guy right here, I guess he's tapping on a microphone. Like, does this mic work? But what these two mics is, this is what I mean whenever I say overhead mic. So it's picking up the whole drum kit. And when you're doing drums, the overhead mics are the most important part because this is your overall drum kit sound, and everything else, the kick, the snare, everything else supplements that. So these are going to be kind of key in that sense. I'm not sure what drums mono is. I don't think we're going to use that for right now. And then room is just probably just a mic out in the room somewhere. Yeah, we probably won't use that. I'll just get rid of both of those, make it a little easier. So drums, all the drums together. Just the overheads. So you can really hear the overheads are your drum kit. For the most part, everything else just kind of supplements it. Let me take this off real quick. Let's check out the bass tracks because I think the bass actually sounds pretty good. We have a direct input and an amp mic, which we'll go over a little bit of that. Sounds cool. It's got some tone, slightly muddy or something. Let's listen to the amp track. That sounds really good. All together with the drums, because the drums and the bass, that's the rhythm section. That's everything that needs to lock. Okay. The bass off the bat sounds good. Like just by itself, it sounds good. Some of the drums, there's some like ringing. There's like a weird ring or something. Whenever they hit, they're like playing the ride. I think it is something that's like, I'm not gonna say harsh or strident, sibilant, brittle. I guess brittle is what I'm thinking of. Just kind of makes it sound thin. It's like that ting, 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 ting. So we'll kind of address that. The guitar, I think the guitar was problematic. So this is one guitar amp with two different microphones on it. That sounds really good. I wouldn't mind bringing some more kind of attack out through it. Let's listen to it. It actually all sounds pretty good. I thought I picked one that was worse off than this. But let's listen to the horns because there's definitely work that could be done to the horns to make them sound good. And whoever did the horns, they recorded it really well. This whole thing's recorded pretty good. So this is the baritone. Tenor sax. And then this is the trumpet. It trumpet may be one of my favorite instruments. So everything together. So that sounds good too. Let's go move on to the keyboard because the keyboard was recorded kind of weird. I'm not quite sure what they did. Oh, it's two different keyboards because there is. Oh, I don't even know if you guys can hear that. Okay, so like a B3 organ over there. So once I add the organ in there, you can hear a lot of clashing going on. There's a lot of stuff. All of a sudden, you know, there's a lot of space being taken up, like around 2K, like right where the voice lives. You know, a little bit in the lower mids is going on. Stuff's starting to sound like muddy, a little cloudy. Let's listen to the actual keyboard part. Sounds good. It's very like high-end kind of Piercy. So, you know, that's not good. It's just kind of adding up with the guitars and the overheads to make everything kind of hurt and the brittle, sibilant, harsh, make it harsh. Yeah. And if you notice, as I start adding in sounds, I have to go back because I'm constantly comparing things, right? So as soon as a new sound comes in, you know, as soon as we hear the keyboard, it's like, okay, well, what's the keyboard doing versus the horns versus the guitars to make sure everything sits, you know, a little bit better. So levels will change through all this. Trumpet sounds so cool, though. Lead vocals, let's listen to just solo.
Fall from clear blue skies. Rainbow color.
So here we have a huge problem here already because she doesn't start singing until right here, but like all we're listening to is the vocal track, and they've recorded it all in one room. You can hear how bad the drums bleed through. I mean, that might as well be the room mic, you know. So that will be an issue. We'll probably end up editing a bunch of that out to get rid of it.
Rainbow colors fall from clear blue sky.
And there is, you know, we're going to have to be careful now with the EQ because there's drums all in it. The more you EQ it, the more it's going to bring the drums out. So it'll be a little challenging. We'll see how that works. She does seem to sing a little bit louder towards the end. Let's listen to some of this.
It's never been just like this, baby. I never felt so fine.
Yeah, let's listen towards the end. Okay. Well, we're gonna have to roll with the punches on that one, and just try and see what we can do. I don't know. I think these are background vocals. It's weird. It says BG guitar, background guitar. Okay. So that's just some background vocals, other background vocals. Okay, it's background vocals from the bass player and background vocals from the guitar player. Um, yeah, let's listen to everything with the lead vocal in there because in order to listen to this song, we need to fix the lead vocal first because otherwise it's just too muddy. If we mute it, everything sounds great, but unfortunately, our clients don't let us mute what we want to mute. So for this, we have our choice. We can pick, a straight up digital EQ to really go in there and clean it up and fix it, or we could try doing that with like an analog modeled EQ. My vote is for the digital, just because we can get it really tight and in there. I'm gonna just end up using Channel Strip. I use Channel Strip for a lot of stuff. And normally I do it while everything's playing, but there's so much like wash in this that I'm gonna just solo it and try to find stuff. So I definitely know it's like muddy, boxy, tubby, boomy, rumbly. All of those apply. So one thing, maybe instead of boosting EQ like this or what have you, maybe I'll try a high pass filter. And see what that does.
Fall from clear blue skies.
Okay.
Fall from clear blue skies. I never worry.
So I think that's the little muddiness that we're hearing.
Fall from clear blue skies.
Yeah, that's the big muddiness that we're hearing. I'll play it again just so you guys can hear it.
Fall from clear blue skies. Fall from clear blue skies.
So that definitely helps. This is where it's going to get tricky though, because there's not a lot of presence to her voice. Like if we play everything in there, her voice kind of gets lost, and I don't think it's really a volume thing.
Fall from clear blue skies. I never.
Like her voice doesn't sound clear. It sounds like I put my hand over the microphone and I'm talking to you with my hand over the microphone. So we need to add some presence, maybe some like airiness to it. Definition and presence. Definitely those two. And I don't know. Do I still have this pulled up? If y'all remember the Fletcher Munson, I don't know how to spell. If you remember the Fletcher Munson, that's our area that we hear best. So we need to bring that out for sure. So let's try that. We have an idea. It's going to be somewhere in the presence, definition, attack, bright, airy, 1K all the way up. So let's just see. I'll just grab one and move it around.
Fall from clear blue skies. I never worry when you're by my side.
That definitely makes it sound better, but it's still not clear. There's like still some mud, like some sort of mud or something. Boxy mud. Is boxy mud on here? Oh, that's right. They're right next to each other, and they should be flip-flopped. But I'm not really sure the frequency, so I'm going to take my EQ and make it pretty tight. In fact, I'm going to make it fairly tight. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sweep around and find that frequency. So eventually it should ring and just kind of overpower everything. And that's where like, hey, that's more than likely that's a problem frequency. So let's try that.
Fall from clear blue skies. I never worry when you're
let's move over here.
So many lovers that I have given time.
That definitely sounds
So many.
See, it kind of hurts your ears, so that's how you know, like, ooh, that's probably a problem frequency. So this is about 854, which is hilarious because remember we were like muddy, boxy, you know, around there, and like I keep saying, I think they have these backwards. Uh, boxy is more 500 to 1K. So we'll cut that. Let's see
So many lovers that I have given time. It's never been just like this, babe.
maybe adjust this lower one because I still feel like there's some sort of rumbly thing going on. Tubby, boxy, I don't know. We'll sweep around, see if we can.
So many lovers that I have given time.
So you can really hear it kind of resonate at that point. And that's definitely sounds a little bit better. We haven't done anything with like the presence definition range. Let's try that. I'm just gonna, that. Yeah, we'll try it with that cue and see where it goes.
So many lovers that I have given time. It's never been just like this, babe. I never felt so.
Yeah, it doesn't really seem to be doing anything, and that's okay. If you come across where you're like that doesn't really seem to be doing anything, then just don't do it. You're better off not doing it. It does still seem like there's some mud in there somewhere. So maybe now with this band I'll sweep it around and see what's going on. Maybe there's another cut to be had.
So many lovers that I have given time. It's never been just like this, babe. I never felt so fun.
It's really kind of hard to tell. But we'll do before and after.
So many lovers that I have given time.
That's an improvement. The vocal, there's so much bleed in there. But anyways, let's go ahead and zip back. I'm gonna get rid of all the vocals. And let's kind of start working on the drums. And whenever I say drums, drums rhythm section. So let's I'll mute everything else. And we had already talked about the overheads, that there's something in the bright. Where's my thingy? I got so much stuff open. Brittle, sibilant. For those of y'all that don't know, sibilant is the like S's when people, when old Gramps talks and whistles every time. That's considered sibilance, and it's always on the S's. But let's go ahead. We'll do channel strip again because I do want to do kind of a tight cut. But let's listen to it, see if we can find that. Again, just looking, it's going to be somewhere 2.5 to 20K. And that's definitely it. So maybe, just to kind of tame it a little bit, just bring it down. Okay. I'm fine with that. So now, now we've gone through, we've gotten our levels. We're switching back to the rhythm section, and we're going to analyze. Basically, we're going to analyze everything again. We took care of that. The kick drum doesn't sound like it has as much definition as I want. Like it just needs to kind of cut more. Um, we could use a digital EQ at this point, but really, maybe one of the analog model EQs will be a whole lot cooler. So one EQ, and you guys will see it a lot, is like the SSL style EQ. It is a fully parametric EQ, so the two mid bands do have bandwidth settings right here. Again, we're not we're not able to see the curves like we were using the other software. So it's going to kind of all be by ear, but also kind of by the chart. And we'll see how that equates. So I'm just going to solo the kick for right now. So looking, I definitely want to bring some attack out. Whoa, hey Zoom. Kind of want to bring some attack out. Maybe we can cut a little boxy and maybe add some thump. So let's try that. What, 5? So we're going to mess with 5K. We're going to mess with 250 and mess with 60 around there. So let's do 5K first to try and get some more attack. And I'm going to do this with everything playing. But yeah, we'll just turn it straight to 5K. Kind of giving us a little bit. And what we're gonna do, get rid of some boxy. And then add the thump. And then bypassed and then unbypassed. And it is so much more solid. Yeah, that sounds cool. And honestly, you know, the settings look kind of extreme. 12 decibels at 5, around there. A lot of times with the analog EQs, you can get away with extremes like that. And for some reason, with digital EQs, it just doesn't work out as well. So let's
I got a question.
Yeah, what's up?
As I was looking through this, I see that it looked easy to me to understand it. You just have to look at it and figure it out.
Yeah,
and listen as you go and just adjust and listen as you go.
Yeah, really, it's the ear training.
Yeah,
like that's why we're like, we're gonna do this again to another song. But
yeah, it's kind of easy to me because as I look at it, it's like you have to listen carefully and then turn it off and then and hear it like, and then you adjust and it gets easier though.
Yeah. But when you turn,
like it's like it's not easy for everybody. A lot of people have difficulties knowing the technology, and these days it's kind of it's like it's in people if you know it.
Yeah, I mean, it's all practice, and it's all training your ears to hear stuff. Which is why I'm like descriptive terms for EQ, like screw EQ charts, descriptive terms, and then going back and really listening to every little piece of everything. So the kick definitely sounds better. I do.
Yes, I heard it.
Yeah. So I do want to move on to the snare, because the snare's body, it has lots of body, but there's no like crack. It's not like clack. How you hear snares on records.
Angelo?
What's that?
I also have a question. So just going back over your technique earlier, so you pretty much just boost certain frequencies just to see if it sounds like bad when you boost them?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. If I'm trying to find something, right?
Hmm.
Because it's not going to be the same on every instrument. You know, it's everything's going to shift one way or another. So if you boost and you move it around and you hear something that like hurts, I'm going to say hurts, it sounds bad or sounds like you don't want it, or it exaggerates what you hearing that is bad.
The frequency.
Yeah, yeah.
The
So it's
frequency.
easier it's
And
easier
the
to find.
amplitude.
Yeah, just be real careful when you do that.
Okay.
Don't have speakers turned up real loud because I mean, there's sometimes where it'll ring really bad and it'll hurt and it may break. It may blow a tweeter or something.
Okay.
Hey, so yeah, I got something to say. Do you think you could send us whatever you had open in your browser that said EQ cheat sheet?
Oh yeah. Hold on, where is it?
Yeah, can you copy and paste that link in chat so I could have it?
Yeah, I wonder if I can. I could. Different
You
class. Let me see if I can just post. I don't know if I
Can you
can.
Google search?
Yeah, but it's in like such a weird little thing. Um,
Do we have any assignments?
no, today's just gonna be this. I'll do this I'll do that towards the end of class. Just remind me.
Okay.
Um, but I wanted to listen to the snare a little bit. So it's definitely thick, but I definitely want to add some top end. Um, I don't know. There's so many EQs to choose from. Um, one, and this is the thing with like these kind of EQs is you start figuring out like, oh, this like the PSP E27 sounds great on snare. Um, so this is another analog model EQ. It's based off of the Avedis E27, which sound really good. It's known for having like a very pretty tight bandwidth, but still being smooth and still being able to boost a bunch. So for the snare, I'm really wanting to bring out like the attack on it, so around 5K. So let's try some of that. I think there's a 5.6, and this EQ is a little weird. It's what's called dual concentric. So there's the outside selector changes the frequency and the inside one does the gain. So let's just listen. I'll boost. I'll probably sweep this around a little bit. We'll just see what happens. That's cool. Let's see if we can bring out some like top end to it though, because it brought out like some presence, but I want like I just want better top end. So we'll just pick whatever, anything 10, 25, 2.5, and then just move it, see what sounds good. Oh, oh. The 17.5, that sounds really good. So if you notice, I don't know if you guys really notice, but doing this with this EQ, since we're boosting a whole bunch, it's bringing up the overall volume also. So now the snare sounds louder overall if I play it and then bypass it. So whenever you start EQing stuff, especially boosting, you may have to adjust levels back, up or down, depending. Sounds cool though. I'm with that. Now we also have the bottom snare, which is that little rattle thing. I'm just gonna see if we can poke some more like high end in it, some more top end to it. I'll use the same EQ, and we'll listen to it in solo and see what happens. Let's start with 10K. Let's see if we can add maybe a little bit 800. I don't know. Let's see what happens. It starts sounding really pointy, and that's probably not what I want. So now if we listen to them all together. The overheads still sound like jingle bells. There's still some weird jingly thing in there. I don't know. Jingly. Is jingly on their sheet? It is not. It's weird. Strident, sibilant, harsh. It's somewhere in the top half. And I know we already did something there, but don't be afraid to fix something and then go back again and be like, oh, well, now I hear this. Yeah, what's up? Oh, was that a hand raise? Is that how this thing works?
I'm just seeing what it's doing. I'm just seeing what it does.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody did that in my class yesterday, and I was like, is that a hand raised? I didn't know Zoom could do that. But yeah, like if y'all fix something and then you go back and you do your stuff and you hear something again, don't be afraid to, go back to that and find that other thing. So there is some weird jingle thing that I don't like. So with this EQ, and this is what we were talking about, just sweeping it around to find it, because I have no idea where it is. I have a guess, but I really have no idea. So we'll just sweep around until that little it's the it's the hi-hat. I hate hi-hats. But anyways, that's a personal problem. So we'll sweep around, see if we can find where it really sticks out. So funny enough, it is around that same little y'all hear the hi-hat start poking out and stuff whenever I do that. Funny enough, it's in the same general area. So I'm gonna cut in that same general area. And kind of move it around until it feels right. So I'll go back to the top, man. Not messing with you. So let's just check out the drums. Gotta remember how to bypass stuff. So let's just check out what the EQs did to the drums. So it definitely brought out more presence to it. I'm fine with that. I'm totally fine with that. For right now, we still need to build the song up, and then we'll go back to the left-hand side and keep working our way to the right. And you do that until everything sounds perfect and it's a hit. It's a hit. So here, let's move to the bass next. So the tracks that we have, we'll get into this when we record, but we have what's called a DI, a direct to input. And what this is it's literally you take the bass guitar or guitar and you plug it in this box that splits the signal and records it. So this is actually the sound literally coming out of the bass before it hits the amp. And it has a different tone. The other one is the actual microphone on the amp. So it also has a different sound to it. The cool thing about doing it like this is now you have these two that you can blend together. So if we just have the DI, and if we just have the amp, Actually, they sound extremely similar. Wow. Yeah, they sound so similar. It's not even worth having. Um, but a lot of times with the guitar, we'll get this. When you use multiple mics on one instrument, you can blend them together, and they kind of work as an EQ just from blending them together. We'll look at that with the guitar. I don't think the bass is really going to do it, but the amp sounds really good, so we're just gonna not use that one. If you want to get rid of a track, like I know for sure we're not going to use this DI track. If you right click on the name down here, you can do hide and make inactive. So it'll take the track away. I can hide this one too. It's still over here on our track list, but what you'll notice is it's in, it's italicized, which means it's inactive, and the dots there are missing, which means that it's not showing. So if I click it, it shows up. If you want to keep stuff clean, which normally you do. So let's listen to the bass and drums together. It sounds pretty good. I think that there is a little bit of like a, I don't want to say boomy, but like a, not really muddy, but maybe slightly muddy. I'm not too sure. Um, but there's something around that region that I'm not liking as much. Uh, so let's try something else. Let's try a different one of the EQs, because all these EQs kind of have a.
I hear the thump inside the drum, like thump, thump.
You hear the thump?
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Like
is it a
thump.
good thump?
No, it just need a little bit lower down about the thump.
Okay.
Like,
I can turn the thump down. I am boosting 9 dB on the thump. But yeah, let's try a different EQ for this. Let's try the Focusrite. The Focusrite EQ is really cool. So as I say, like all of these different EQs all have different, you can say, vibes. Which with the plugin doctor, you can see the different harmonics that it generates. So you can kind of be selective. The Focusrite one, I know for sure doesn't add a whole lot to it. And I don't really want it to for the bass. I just kind of want a clean precision little cut, right wherever this little slight muddy boxy thing is. So I'm going to do the same thing as the digital and just kind of boost it. This EQ is a little different. So we still have the gain for the low mid frequency. We have the bandwidth right here, but there's two sets of numbers, and it goes from like 40 to 400 hertz. And then the yellow is a multiplier. And if you hit this little ×3 button, now the range is the yellow numbers. So it comes in handy sometimes. I'm just gonna make it tight. We'll play it and mess around with it and see what we like, don't like, and then we'll figure out whatever number it is. Maybe somewhere around there. So I know that's probably hard to hear. I'm on headphones, and I'm on some really, really cheap headphones. But you can kind of hear that it like kind of tightens up the bass, gives it a little bit more definition, versus whenever it's in bypass. And then with the drums. I don't know. Maybe we should try, making it a little thick, add a little bit of low end to it. What is that? 60, 150, or 125, 250. Let's try. Now let's try 95. Let's see what happens. And again, since we turned up, the gain kind of gets a little louder, so maybe we should turn it down to get it back in line. And if I bypass everything, I mean,
The thump went away.
What's that?
The thump went away.
Yeah. Whenever we bypass everything, you can feel everything just get flat and like very just like like. Then when you unbypass it, everything is just everything's like bigger, and that's because we're going in there and fixing stuff that we don't like and enhancing stuff that we do like. So we just keep on doing this, and then eventually things are going to start sounding, quite a bit better. Let's go into guitars real quick because that should be kind of easy, and then we'll do like a quick break. So again, this is one guitar amp with 2 mics, I believe. And here in the naming right there, it's kind of hard to see. But they used M80, and then this is some prototype mic. So let's just kind of listen to one, then the other. Let's listen over here. Kind of dull, kind of muddy. Let's listen to the other one. The other one is pretty ripping. So this is one where we have 2 very different mic sounds, right? We have one that sounds dull, one that sounds a bit bright. So this can really come in handy where I was talking about blending stuff. So I'll play it. We'll have the real bitey one. Biting can also be in the good area. So especially with guitars, but I'll kind of blend it, and we'll see if we can get a cool blend of the two. That's kind of cool. That may be something that we'd have to check with everything. So let's listen with everything. It's a little thin just with this one as the lead. If we didn't have this mic at all, it'd be really thin. So like, listen, I'll play it and I'll bring up the dark dull one with the bright one, and it kind of seems to fill it out. So in and of itself, with just these 2 tracks, there's quite a few different tones in there. There's a little bit of a bitier tone, maybe more aggressive whenever we have the brighter one up, and a little bit more laid back whenever it's vice versa with a little bit duller one. So I'm not really I'm kind of not really sure where to go with that. I'm not sure which one we should pick. Let's back it up. We may go with the more bright one and see if we can cut out some of the brightness, or maybe go with the dull one and try and bring up some of the brightness. I don't know. Let's find out. the little bit brighter style, or with the brighter one taking the lead. Let's listen to that though, because it does, everything does thicken up. But now we got to figure out which one do we try to remove that thickness from? Because to me, it's a little too thick going on. Now let's try doing stuff on the main one. Oh gosh, what should we use for this? What should we use? So, okay, let's try. I don't want to do that. Let's go back to the one of the SSL. So kind of that mud, because this one, our second mic is bringing all the low end with it. So maybe we try and cut out some mud, box, tub, and boo from it, and just see what happens. What is that? 500 hertz to 125. So this time, yeah, I will boost it, and we'll just see. I don't want to boost it a whole lot. I just want to find where it kind of overpowers things. Try and make up the loss of that low mid with the other one. And you can hear it tighten up, but I still feel like there's still just mud there, and I think now just it may be coming from the other track. And with this, I like the way it sounds, but I want to be real precise about it. I want to find that specific muddy part and cut just that muddy part. So doing it with some sort of like analog style EQ probably isn't the way to go. I'm just going to use channel strip. Honestly, when I actually mix, I use channel strip a ton. But we'll do the same. We'll boost, we'll sweep, find the muddy thing, and then cut it. Yeah, Olivia?
Yep, let's go. I'm watching you.
What's that?
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So real quick, in the SSL 4000, when you check the compressor part, you can notice there's not an attack knob. I know that those SSL come like with it already has with an attack like set up to it. How fast is the attack to it? Is it a fast attack? Is it slow?
It's pretty fast. Some of them, like this one, the E series, does have this little F with the up arrow. If you click it, that's a even faster attack. It's a fast attack. Like it will hit stuff. The SSL compressors are known for making drums really punchy.
But wouldn't you putting like a super fast attack, wouldn't it kill all your transients?
Yeah. And if you hit the actual this F right here, it goes a little too fast and it will kill the transient.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got you.
They're cool to try it on like kick and snare and stuff like that. Especially these. Olivia, are you actually raising your hand, or are you just like falling asleep on the keyboard and it does a little hand thing?
I'm playing with it. I'm bored.
Okay, let's go ahead and get this mud out, and then we'll take the break. So let's find this mud. Haha. So there, let's just bypass. We'll bypass both of these. everything just to kind of hear what we've done so far. So it's starting to sound pretty cool. The horns are going to be awesome once they're in because they sound. Whoever recorded it did a fantastic job.
I have another question.
Yeah. What's up?
All right, so when you see that the SSL 4000, the one of the plugin alliance, it comes with like different letters. There's different types. There's like the E, the G, and the other one. So what does each and one of them mean?
So throughout the life of the SSL 4000, they've done various like overhauls on the circuits. So things have changed in it. So most of it's just a tonality thing. And it comes down also to kind of like a feel. So the E series, they go in order. I don't think there was an F. Now I'm like questioning myself. But the E series was one of the first ones that they made. It has a different EQ on it than the G series. The circuit's slightly different. In the G series, that's what all the big hits were mixed off of in like the late 90s. Like it was the most popular one. It's more aggressive sounding, more punchy than the E series. And the EQ is different from the E series. The J series, the J series was a redesign of the console yet again, but it took out a bunch of noisy parts. So the J series is normally considered a lot cleaner than the G or E. So if you're looking for like a clean, not crunchy sound, go with the J. If you're looking for something like kind of dirty and punchy, go with the G. Um, yeah, I don't know how much of a difference you're really going to hear. It's probably going to be like a feel difference. Did I actually open one of those?
Okay,
Yeah.
got you. Thank you.
Yeah. Just kind of try them out. And I think one of them you can switch the EQs back and forth. Is it the E? Is it the G? EQ type. Yeah. Which is kind of fun to play with. Because there's like, if you look at it, there's the black knob, there's the orange knob, and then I think this is that's a black knob too. Well, that's no fun. Yeah, so I think it just changes the EQ to different ones. Anyways, you guys want to go ahead and take like a 10-minute break? Come back at 7:20.
Uh-huh.
All right, killer. I will see you guys then.
All right, I just got here. Sorry, I came up late.
Yeah, cheers.
If this is gonna go up online though, right? I can like go back and watch it.
Yeah, I'll get that tonight. I have to make a new YouTube channel to do all this stuff. But yeah, I can. For the rest of the class also, it's just gonna kind of be more of the same.
Okay, cool.
So I think you'll kind of pick up. Were you here for the last class also?
Yeah, I was here last Tuesday. I just completely forgot we had class at 6.
Yeah. No worries. I will post those online. I'll figure out how to get YouTube working. I'm not that old. I can figure out YouTube.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so cool. Yeah, we'll come back at 7:20 and we will continue on with this.
Hello. What time is class is over?
What what
Hello.
what time is class over?
Uh huh.
It'll probably be, I don't know, sometime after 8.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Back at it. Back to working. Work, 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 work. Um, so now we're gonna move on to the horn section. Let's check this out. Let's listen to the horns. Got, I'll make this a little smaller. So let's kind of listen to the horns, um, and see what things sound like. They sound really good. Now here's a problem we're gonna have. So far, we haven't panned anything, and panning stuff around will create space by leaving a hole in the middle or leaving a hole off to the side or something for other instruments to poke out. We haven't gotten into the vocals, and vocals practically live in the middle. And if we have the horns, which their frequency range, their definition, their definition, is around 2.5K, which is right around where our vocal range lives. Going back to wherever the Fletcher Munson curve. Um, so if we start building up too much stuff around that area, it's gonna be a problem real quick. So we can try panning these. We have 3 different ones. We have baritone, tenor, and trumpet. And the guitar also kind of lives in that area. So we can try just doing the spread of horns, like one left, one right, and see how that sounds. Maybe a different pattern of horns left and right. But one thing that's happening too is the guitar is definitely getting lost. And there's whenever you look on stage, like at a band, and you're thinking stage wise, how are they going to be arranged on the stage? Normally, you'll have the drums in the middle, You'll have a guitar player off to one side and a horn section off to the other side. So that's a very common thing to do. Pan the guitar to one side and pan all the horns to one side. So let's see what that sounds like. Maybe that's a little extreme. It seems like disconjoining. I don't, it feels weird. So let's go ahead and put everything. I do kind of want the horns spread out. So what if we do just a little to the right? Hold on. That's the high one. So let's make that one a lot, kind of a little, and then we'll just put this off to the left a little bit. See what that sounds like. You can definitely hear the guitar a lot easier that way. So we may go with that. Of course, I do like the horns, like pan left and right. It just sounds cool. It makes it sound bigger. So this is, there's no hard, fast rules for this. Just kind of mess with it. See what sounds right, what feels right. Just listening to it. Let's listen to the horns by themselves. They sound cool. I just kind of want to enhance it, and whenever I'm thinking about it, like this one, the baritone, it just feels like it should have a lot more like low end to it, or low mid, I guess. What does low mid equate to? On the good side, fat needs to be fat. So I know we had talked about this, that AMAC 2098, for whatever reason, this low mid is just like magic. So oh, maybe I try it on this one too, because it just sounds kind of thin, right? And I want things to be big and fat and warm. So let's try that again with the other with another AMAC. And what we'll do is we'll listen to him. We'll listen to everything. Why not? So we've definitely turned it up a whole bunch, which means everything got louder. So I'm going to go ahead and turn these back down while we listen. It sounds cool. I think maybe we could add more presence to it also, to, kind of really enhance it and make it over the top. I don't know. Bright, airy attack. We'll try something around there. I'm gonna leave this one alone. We're gonna go with the high shelf, and again, this is on the left baritone. Sounds pretty cool. So let's listen to the trumpet too. Now the trumpet just sounds kind of weak. There's not a whole lot of low end in the trumpet. I mean, there's practically none. So maybe let's try the same EQ. Let's just, instead of, I don't want to do that. Let's see if we can add definition, presence, attack, all that stuff in this area, which equates to this area, and just kind of see if we can find it. Oh, but I want to unsolo everything so we can hear it. Sounds pretty cool. How do I bypass just this lot? Okay, so I'll play it bypassed and then I'll pop it in. Sounds cool to me. It sounds a lot bigger, which is what we're kind of looking for. So let's go ahead and get over to the keyboard too. Where is this keyboard? I think it's just going to be this track over here. One thing with Pro Tools, if you kind of get lost or something like that, and like you're like, oh, I want to work on the keyboard track, if you select the name and it lights up, and it'll show it over here when you switch to the mixer page, it'll show it selected. So it's kind of a easy way to go about doing that, especially whenever sessions get giant and you have.
How many minutes we got
What do you mean? How many minutes we got
until class?
I mean, if you want to go ahead and bounce out now, you can.
Because I have to run an errand. Would that go against me or what?
Huh?
Would that go against my attendance or what?
No, hold on. Let me take attendance right now, which is
okay.
Which is me taking a picture of the participant screen. There you go.
Okay.
You've been counted. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
I'll see you later.
Okay, cool.
What's the end of the assignment?
Huh?
No assignment?
No, I'm gonna give that Thursday.
Okay.
Your assignment is going to be to EQ stuff.
Okay.
That's really
all right. I gotta get going.
Okay. Sounds good. I'll see you later.
All right. See you Thursday.
All right. So on to the keyboard part. Let's check that out. I don't want to play it at the beginning. Oh, it's like an organ. It's like an organ. Maybe we should play around that area. So it sounds like they're trying to do that high end, like airy, like tuck 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 tuck. And I know you've heard it on songs. So we need to clean that up. There's some weird boxiness going on with it. There's some weird boxiness. It's like missing some like top end or something to it. So to fix the boxiness, we should probably go digital EQ, just because it can be anything we want it to be, and I know that there's something very specific I don't want. So again, we'll just do the boosting thing. I know it's boxy-ish, so, and these they should be backwards. So it'll probably be between 1K and 250. So somewhere around there. I do know from the style that they're trying to go for that they want a big, like, sparkly high end to it. Now we could use this same EQ, or we could go with one of the analog modeled EQs, which is kind of what I would like, because I'd like a little bit of color to it. Let's see, what do we have?
Why do you have a limiter in the master channel?
Just so I can make it loud enough that everybody can hear it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, normally if I was mixing, I wouldn't do that. I'm gonna try the UAD. They have a UA 610. So this is like it's a recreation of that old 610 console that I told you all about, that one class. The cool thing about this is it'll add a little bit of harmonics, so it'll kind of color the sound, and it has like a high band shelf that I can EQ with. So let's just check it out. It still sounds a little weird. It actually did not give me what I wanted. I wanted a little bit more clarity, and it just kind of brought a bunch of high end out. Such as analog modeled style EQs. So we could try something else. We can try the Lindell 80 series. It's just different EQ curves, so we should get different results. So I'll probably end up like boosting some top end, and I'll probably end up trying to boost some of kind of the upper frequencies, which is everything for airy, bright, attack, definition, presence. We'll just see. Sounds okay. There's still stuff going on now. It seems like it's too pointy, and pointy, I would say harsh area. So why don't we play that and kind of boost and find it and cut it. Oh. Oh, look at that. I wasn't expecting it to be there in the presence area. I was expecting it to be a little higher up, but if I boost it, you'll hear it like squawk. And that's the area where our ears are really, really sensitive. Let's listen to everything, and so I'll play it over here, and we'll bypass just so we can hear everything we've done so far. So it's a pretty big difference. Just going through and cleaning stuff up. Once again, I would go back and start again and do vocals, and then just basically keep working my way from left to right, and just keep cleaning things up, enhancing it, trying stuff. Like, you never know, like, if you're just like, I'm just going to turn this knob way far and sweep the frequencies, and then all of a sudden, like, something clicks and you're like, wow, that sounds really cool. Go for it. Don't just do it based off of this. Just kind of try things sometimes.
Do you have any of the Pultec EQs?
Yeah, I think I have the UAD one. Oof. Yeah. Yeah, the Pultec sound great. For those of y'all that don't know, Pultec EQs, this is a very famous EQ. They've been around forever. It's a tube EQ. But if you look at it, it's a little weird because you see the low frequency you set right here, and it has boost and attenuate, which seems odd to boost and attenuate at the same frequency. But this is actually really cool. If I load it up into the plugin doctor, I think I got to be kind of fast about this. It's under powered plugins. Pultec, like I don't have the new one. I have the old one. But if you start boosting, you know, you see a very big, long, fat boost. But when you attenuate, it does this weird, like it dips just before it boosts. So if you ever hear people, they call it like the Pultec trick, so to say. And that's what it's doing. It's boosting, but then whenever you start attenuating, it starts cutting it, which sounds really cool. We will try it right here on the master bus. They're also known for being used on drums and master bus.
I just wanna love you. You know that is true.
Let me back up.
Rainbow colors fall from clear.
It's really subtle. It just kind of makes things bigger. You know, those EQs cost a lot of money just to make things just sound a little bit bigger. They do sound cool, but you know, I don't know. I have a love-hate with Pultecs. Does anybody have any questions about any of this? Because this is basically going to end up being your project that I'll give you guys on Thursday. I wanted to be really thorough with showing y'all the difference that EQ can make, because I've had students in the past where I've basically handed them the project and been like, mix this and EQ it. And what I end up getting back is like EQ one bands on everything. And then, oh, that's not what I was wanting to pull up. But I'd get back. Oh, come on. I'd get back projects and it would be like this. Like, and they'd be like, man, it's mixed. And it's like, no, like that's nah. So I really wanted to spend a longer time really going through it and showing you the process of this. And we'll end up doing a lot more of this stuff because we're going to move on to compressors next. And we'll quickly move on to groups and auxes and effects and stuff like that. At which point we'll skip a lot of the EQ stuff. And for the effects stuff, we're probably going to end up doing a lot of like hip hop stuff because there's just so many cool effects and it makes it so much fun. But yeah, does anybody have questions on any of this stuff?
I was wondering what EQ we get to use like on our Pro Tools. I mean,
Are you on Pro Tools first?
I have the Pro Tools, the new version on 10, I think it is.
Okay. You can use whatever you want. If it comes with it, you're probably going to end up using Channel Strip a lot. Because you'll get that one, and you'll get the EQ 7-band.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're both the okay. I'm gonna preface this. The EQ 7-band is great because you can click it, you can move it around, you can adjust the Q. Now, the thing with channel strip is channel strip out of the box. I hate it because if I go to factory default, actually, let me pull up the other one. So I will shift click this. So straight out of the box, it is going to be when you boost this. It's usable with channel strip straight out of the box, and you boost it. It's so wide that it's unusable. So you'll almost always have to adjust the Q. So mine, every time I go somewhere, I always make a preset, and I set the Q for every band to 4.5 because it's helpful to me like that, instead of it being the factory default like that, because that's kind of useless for me. I just want to preface, if you do use channel strip, you're probably going to be wanting to mess with the Q a bunch to get tighter bands, whereas with the EQ 3.7 band, it kind of works just factory default better.
Download?
What's that?
Are there any that we could download?
If there's a few, if you
Man, I have the Waves. I have the Waves 9. I have the Waves 9. I could zip it up and email it to you.
Oh man, you can't do that. That's totally against.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to my classmate. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll email you and we'll talk about it on our class.
There you go. I consciously
right.
in class cannot tell you to do that. But if you go to Pro Tools Expert and then you do like free plugins, oh look at that, all right, good. You can do this, and then there's a bunch of like free plugins that you can download.
Yeah, honestly, without FabFilter, I wouldn't be able to work. Like the FabFilter EQ, because it does all kinds of cuts. Like you're not gonna have a EQ that's gonna put you a brick wall, like to cut. And
the FabFilter stuff's great. I don't use it in mixing very much. Using
I do.
Yeah, I use now FabFilter and mastering. I use it all the time. Yeah. Yep. FabFilter stuff.
So I have a question. So if you go to the edit window.
That's my whole issue. Like, I would always get into debates with other engineers on which EQ is the best for mastering and which EQ is the best for low cuts, and we could waste a whole session just talking about EQing.
Yeah, for me, it's whatever gets the job done.
Yeah, honestly, like you could get all these plugins, but you're always gonna beat the one you know the most. So like if you learn a plugin in and out, you could use it as ever as you want.
Yeah, for me,
I love the RC compressor and the REQ6 and the RC compressor. I love those.
Yeah, they're okay. I use the R compressor for like utility stuff. I'll end up. I don't know if we're gonna get to that, but I'll show you. I'm gonna definitely spill a bunch of tricks that I do once we get into effects and stuff.
So the question I was gonna ask is, so when you start mixing, how small do the wave files need? I don't know, like the stems, how far from the ceiling they need to be before you start mixing? Like
a good rule in Pro Tools, gosh, I can't do that without. Normally you want it. I guess it's kind of, okay. I can barely see it. Like there's the green ends right there, and then I think it goes from like yellow all the way up. You kind of want it maybe about this area. That because that gives you kind of the most play on the faders.
But what do you have it on? RMS, peak level? What do you have it on?
Classic.
Okay.
Classic, yeah. I think I have them all on classic. Yeah, I'm just used to working that way. Yeah, so it makes it easier for me. But one thing, one, it's funny you bring that up. The faders. I don't know if you guys like. Have you guys been taught about like logarithmic and linear and the difference between that?
Nope.
No. Okay. Um, so the linear. Let me look this up. Linear versus logarithmic. Thank God I didn't have to spell that. So this is the difference right here, right? So, uh, oh, that's funny. Let me go to something else. Uh, you guys like math? um,
No.
come on. Okay, here's a good example. Um, so so linear is literally a straight line. So if we were looking at these faders, it would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It'd just be in a straight line. That the way our ear works is our ear doesn't work linearly. It works logarithmically. So it's things that are really quiet. It doesn't matter. There's a certain threshold it has to get to before we can actually like kind of perceive it. And then from there to the end, it goes up extremely fast. Or hold on. Yes, yeah, yeah. So the way the faders are is the faders work that way too. So this may be -80, whereas this may be -20, and then that is the bottom third, and then the top third um, is only 20 dB versus this being like 80 dB or whatever. There's more variation up here. Oh, it gives me the numbers right there below it. So faders work in a linear way. Like if I go from 10, okay, so that's -90. That's -80. That's 70. That's 60. So as you go up, the spacing gets further and further. So here's 10, and then here's 0, right? So there's more play. So the idea is you want enough level to where when you're doing volume adjustments, you do it in this general area and not all the way down here like you do if you're in Logic. But anyways, that's kind of the general idea. You want your faders right around 0 starting off, and you want everything to kind of hit good at 0 so you have the most resolution in the fader. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. Like,
So it's linear scale, and what was the other one called again?
logarithmic. Yeah, or exponential. Exponential is a great way to say it. Like this pandemic we're having, and it's exponentially rising. That's exponential. So it doubles. It doubles every single time.
Okay.
Instead of just adding one, it just doubles and doubles and doubles. But yeah. Anybody got any other questions? Thursday. Hold on. No, Thursday. Thursdays we won't have a Zoom meeting. I'm just gonna put up the project. I'll be available the entire time during class if y'all need help with stuff, or if you have questions or if you're having problems, just let me know. I'm 100% available that day.
I have a question, Mr. D'Angelo. So last week I emailed you my project. I wasn't sure if you got it because I didn't get a response. Do you use the student email?
I have it. I honestly, I still need to gather everybody's project. I have it turned in. I've just had a crazy weekend that
Okay.
I haven't like downloaded them and opened them, but I'm gonna do that tonight. I'm gonna
Okay.
make
Well,
another.
my email, I had a question. So I'm using a MacBook, and I had updated to the new operating system. So
Oh
Pro
no.
Tools doesn't work. Yeah. So I'm like, is there like a way around that or no?
Not with Pro Tools first. If you do the subscription for the
Mhm.
regular Pro Tools, it'll work. It's like 10
Okay.
bucks a month.
Yeah,
That's
I recommend you to get that one. You pay $9.99 and you also get some free plugins that are really good.
Oh, okay, great. Let me go.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's so worth it because
Yeah.
I'm having problems with Pro Tools first. The reason I have to use my full version is because for whatever reason Pro Tools first won't work with Zoom. It crashes every
Oh,
time.
wow.
Yeah. And then like I get there's other students that are having problems with it. I have a student in another class who's having issues. The interface that he bought for whatever reason doesn't work in Pro Tools first. But if you use the regular version, it works fine.
Yeah, Pro Tools first, it sucks. I'm pretty
does.
disappointed with it.
It does. It is a super, super pain on the butt to use.
Okay, class, I'm gone.
All right, man.
Out the best of my day.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, that's it for class. Again, hit me up if y'all have questions or anything. And
Okay.
I'll do projects tonight and I'll email you back. Before we leave though, one thing I want to do is whenever we do this project, and it'll probably be from this project on, when y'all send it to me, I want to play it back with everyone and kind of look and see what everybody did. Because that's kind of how we can like learn from one another, and I can make some comments and stuff like that. That went over really, really well. My last class, they loved it.
Okay.
And there were people that like did stuff, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "What'd you do? That sounds great." And they're like, I don't know. I just put distortion on it. It sounded really good." And I was like, "You're kidding me." I was like, "I'm gonna try that next session." And I tried it next session. It didn't work for me, but for them, it worked great. So I think that'll be cool and fun, and I think it'll be good feedback.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, cool. I guess not see y'all Thursday, but you'll hear from me.
Okay. Have a
All
good day.
All right, later, guys.
Hey, Andy.
Oh,
Yeah, I was waiting
Got
till
me.
everyone left. I do have questions.
Yeah, what's up?
So, I just noticed that, usually when I go into Pro Tools, I only put the kick and the bass and the vocals in mono. But me looking at this, I see you have like several things in mono.
Mhm.
So, how do I know what kind of decisions I need to make when it comes to like other instruments and stuff?
Um, oof. Like doing kick, and because right now you just separate kick and snare into mono.
I mean, I just do the bass and the vocals.
Okay, so these guys, since these are all microphones, that's why they're all single mono. Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
whenever like I mix stuff, I won't even separate it into from stereo to mono unless it like leans to one side or something. Like I don't even mess with it. Just because it takes more time to split it out, and the only thing that you're really losing by switching things to mono versus not is a little bit of processing headroom, but it's not even.
Okay.
I don't think it's even that much processing headroom that you're saving. So
Okay.
it may be more effort to split things out than not to. You know.
Okay. So another thing is sometimes when I'm like lowering my volumes, they don't work. I have no idea what's happening. Like the meters, I don't know if there's something in the settings I need to do.
Yes. Yeah. So if you go to options, if you go to options,
Mm-hmm.
so if you look right here, there's pre-fader metering. So what this does is like I'm just gonna solo it, hit play. If I were to turn this all the way down, you still see the meter.
Okay.
Um, and if I take that off, then now the meter follows the fader. If it'll play. Oh, come on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like what that's helpful for is for recording. So if you're like, oh, I'm recording, but I'm going to mess with the volume here, but I want to see what level it's being recorded at.
Okay,
So
got you.
yeah, do that. Do that if you want to see the meters move like that.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna bother you no more. I will have questions on Thursday though.
I am super down. Like this makes my day. Let me know.
Okay, cool. So another thing is, so when you start mixing, do you usually like clean up first and like do you? Because I've heard that you said that you mostly just like EQ,
Uh-huh.
but you know sometimes things don't need EQ.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is really, you need to like train your ears really, because sometimes I don't even be noticing things.
Yeah, and it's part of the reason why I picked like acoustic music, shit recorded with a mic, is because a lot of electronic stuff like sounds good out of the box. So
Mm-hmm.
I do less EQ on electronic music stuff. So if it doesn't need an EQ, it doesn't need an EQ.
Okay, well that was all my questions.
Okay. And if you're unsure, just put on the AMEC EQ, the 2098, and sweep around and see what happens.
2090, wait, let me see. Oh yeah, I wrote everything down. So
Yeah.
I have the UAD 610, which is really good. I love that one.
Yeah.
And since I got the Plugin Alliance one, I'm just writing everything down. The PSE 27, good for snares. You said
Oh, the PSP.
the PSPE 27.
It's awesome for snares. It's awesome for guitars. It's horrible on vocals.
Horrible on vocals.
Does
Okay.
not sound good on vocals. But hey, like you may put it on vocals and like really like it or something.
Yeah.
No. But generally it's known for snare and guitar.
Okay. And I'm gonna download the plugin doctor thing. There's a free version of it, right?
Yeah, the little demo, it just cuts out every once in a while.
Yeah. So, can you show me real quick how do you load the plugins into it?
So when you open it, and you'll do file load plugin, so it only does VST and AU plugins.
Uh.
Yeah, so if it's AAX like the Pro Tools format, it won't work.
Okay.
But yeah, then you just kind of pick something. I wish there was a cool. Oh, I'm all in the UAD stuff. And it kind of depends where things are installed. Like I have all my VSTs under Steinberg VSTs.
Mm-hmm.
So for you, it may be under Program Files VST. Yeah, and then you just pull it up, double click it.
Okay. Well, since I've been trying out the SSL's ones, but I didn't know that what the letter meant, so I'm just like I was all confused about it.
Yeah. They're all. I mean, they're all pretty similar. So there it goes. Yeah, and then this thing also has like a way to do dynamics, which is kind of interesting. Like I think it. Put it in. I don't know exactly. Oh, okay. So I can see it kick in. I don't know what it means. I think this is the linear sweep.
Yeah.
And it'll show it as it's compressing. Like if I turn up the ratio, it should brick wall. Yeah, there it goes. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Yeah, there's people that get super dorky with it. I don't know what Hammerstein is. Whoa. I don't know what that is. I don't know what this is.
Okay. Well, I know that the Focusrite Brainworks EQ, you said it doesn't add a lot of harmonics. I was still kind of confused about that multiply knob, like the ×3.
Oh, it just shifts from the white. Let me see if I can
Oh yes.
Yeah, yeah. It just from like the high mid, right, as is, it goes from zero point 0.6 to 6, which is 600 hertz to 6 kilohertz.
Okay.
The times 3, then it jumps over to the yellow. So now it's 1.8 kilohertz to 8 kilohertz.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. It's an old trick they used to do in the analog days. So same with the high pass and low pass. Divide by 3
Mm.
times 3. Yeah, and they couldn't have done 2. They have to do 3, which makes the math kind of hard.
Okay, so I'm a little confused. What does it mean, key listen? Like when you see the key button in any of these analog things, what does it mean?
It's listening. We haven't really gone over that. It's listening for a sidechain signal normally.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like if you wanted to sidechain the kick and the bass, if you like key listen it, you'll hear the kick drum, whatever you're sidechaining it
Oh,
with. Yeah.
okay.
And then there's other stuff like if you get onto like a de-esser, you can normally. Oh man, I wish I had. I think this has it. Yeah, you can listen to just the sidechain audio, which would be what's being. It's the same as key listen. You're listening to what it's reacting to.
Okay. Okay. Got you. This is my last question. Okay, this is last question. So, how do you sidechain? I'm so confused when it comes to sidechaining or Pro Tools. Like, I don't even know if I'm doing it right.
Okay, so we'll take kick. We'll mute everything. So if I want to sidechain the kick drum and the bass, like I want when the kick drum hits, I want the bass to turn down, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna pick any compressor. I'll do the R compressor just because it's really easy to see. So what we need to do is we need to somehow get signal from the kick drum into this compressor, and that's the key input. Otherwise, it just listens to itself. So we need to tell it like, hey, on a certain bus, let's just say bus 9, that's what you're going to listen to compress. So
Okay.
I have to say, okay, kick drum, I need to send you out bus 9. So you are now directly connected to the side chain of the compressor.
Okay.
And you got to make sure to turn up the fader for it.
Okay.
So now, like, I can just solo this and this.
Oh.
So now you can see the bass is reacting off the kick. And if I bypass this, no longer does it. If I do no key input, now it's doing the bass again. I go back to where, it's sending out from over here. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, this will help me. Okay. Listen. Okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Anything else?
Oh no, that's all my questions.
Cool. Let me know which ones you got for me on Thursday.
Oh yeah, on Thursday for sure.
Okay.
I have one of my teachers that I'm taking synthesis class, and he's like, "You're really attentive." I'm like, "No, I just like to learn." But
Well,
thank you, Andy.
I'll see you Thursday.
See ya.